Good afternoon. Today we're speaking to Michelle Medhat, who has worked in technology, science, education and marketing. She's currently Director of Operations of Strategic Development at the Institute of Innovation and Knowledge Exchange. Michelle has written a trusted thriller series called by readers as 007 on Acid with Aliens. Hello, Michelle. Would you like to tell us more about yourself and how you became a writer?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much indeed, Donna, for having me on your programme. That's wonderful. How did I become a writer? Well, that's a very interesting story, actually. I mean, I've been writing all my life in various guises, basically. Sometimes in periodicals, sometimes in reviews, sometimes in newspapers, magazines, etc. I really kicked off properly last April, and I focused heavily on the Trusted Thriller series, which you've just actually spoken about. But how I started writing, it all happened when I was 4.5. I was dreaming about my grandfather, and I woke and I suddenly started writing, and my mum come into my room and she said, "What are you doing, darling?" And I said, "I'm writing. My granddaddy came to see me and I want to tell you all about it." So when I'd finished writing whatever I was writing, I read it out and it was a poem. And it went something along these lines. I'm going to try and remember it now. "When I sleep, my beautiful sleep, I see and hear things in my dreams of faces I no longer see and voices I no longer hear in my sweet, beautiful sleep." Now, I didn't know, but earlier on that morning, in the early hours of the morning, my grandfather passed away. And both my mum and dad didn't want to tell me. But then they actually saw the poem and they realized the actual impact of it and really what it was saying. So I said to my mum, "I really want to show Granddaddy because this is really, really nice, you know." And she started to cry and she said, "I'm really sorry, darling. He's in heaven now." And I said, "No, he's not. He's been holding my hand all night." So very, very strange, very, very strange indeed. But from that moment on, perhaps my grandfather blessed me, I don't know. But from that moment on, I have been writing. And I love it. It is something that actually gets inside you and you have something and you need to get out. It needs to come out of you. You know, certainly when I was writing the Trusted Thriller series, I knew I had such a lot of stuff in me and I just wanted to get it out. And I think that's the same with an awful lot of writers. They just want to, there's too many voices up here talking and you've got to get it out on paper. You know, there's too many plot lines, there's things rolling. Because my books are very, very visceral and very, very visual, I don't only have the voices, I have the full-on 4D movie experience going on in my brain. So it is a case of just literally write. And actually, I write as opposed to typing. So I have got notebooks and notebooks and notebooks throughout the house of some 600,000 words plus, which is about the accumulation of words throughout the Trusted Thriller series. I write everywhere I can, okay? So when I was traveling a lot last year, because my job just requires me to travel quite a lot, whether I'm on a plane or train, or in a car, not driving, obviously. We're not into driverless cars at the moment. So I'm not trying to write and then navigate at the same time. I'm very good girl. passenger, then I could write in the car as well. So I prefer to do that because it's a very kinesthetic thing, writing for me. And I like to feel the connection to the paper through the pen, through my own emotion. And then I go onto the computer and then I embellish it and I change it and I do. But that is the way I write. I don't like to just stare at a computer screen and just see that blank cursor rolling like that. It just really does my head in. I can't cope with that. But give me a piece of paper and a pen and I'm away. I know it's the same thing, a blank piece of paper and a blank screen, but for me, psychologically, they're two very, very different things. And they create two very different outputs, basically. One creates anxiety, the other one creates something decent, I think. So the Trusted Thriller series is really espionage. So it's very, very lightning fast. I say lightning fast because it is literally like a hit to the system. When you read it, there's so much going on. The chapters are very short, so you're literally pulled into the action very, very quickly indeed. It is political. So normally political kind of thrillers are a little bit slower, but certainly mine aren't. You also have a touch of, I mean, some people call it sci-fi, but it's actually more metaphysical sci-fi, because we're talking about energies, we're talking about interdimensions, and we're talking about these beings who live between planes of reality, and they are the overseers, and they keep the balance of energy. And when energy throughout the universe starts to slip, then they actually make some kind of remedies. They put in place some kind of remedies. Well, in the book, there is this terrible organization, terrible terrorist collective called Al-Nadir. Now, Al-Nadir upset the balance in a big way. They're run by a guy called Dr. Salam Al-Duri and Dr. Sabina Sanantoni. That's his, she's a lover, she's second in command, she's all that kind of stuff, basically. She's very, very clever. She's psychotic. Okay, she's absolutely psychotic. And he is a snake. But they look like GQ Vogue models. So it's a very, very different kind of thing. These are not fundamentalists. These are not the kind of typical terrorists that we expect to see. They are very, very different indeed. And hence the reason why in the book there's something called the celebrity terrorist, which is a very uncomfortable thing, but something that actually happens within this kind of alternate universe, alternate history that actually runs in the Trusted series. The other two characters in the book is Sam Noor and Ellie Noor. Now, Sam Noor, oh, he is a lovely guy. He is so sweet, so loving, so kind, compassionate, can't do enough for Ellie Noor, his wife. He's also a badass MI6 spy. He's a really ruthless guy. And Ellie doesn't know this. She doesn't know anything about his life at all. She's a businesswoman. She's in virtual warehousing and cybersecurity, blockchain, all that kind of stuff. So she doesn't actually get involved in his life. She's running at a pace, he's running at a pace, and they sort of meet up in the lounge and then go their separate ways again. In many ways, this was a blessing to Sam because she didn't actually find out about him. When she does find out about him, everything collapses. Everything collapses. And I'm not giving away, sorry, any spoilers, because in the very blurb on Amazon, for example, it already says all what I'm saying. So I'm not giving it away. It is a foregone conclusion that he's an MI6 agent. and that she didn't know, and she finds out, and wham bam, it is an incredibly crazy roller coaster ride from there on in. Everything you imagine in a book happens, basically. As I say, very, very fast moving. You've got the Prime Minister of the UK, which is not our current Prime Minister, but somebody much, much different, called Richard Ashton. He's a lovely guy. No, not really. He's a hell of a son of a bitch. He doesn't suffer fools gladly at all. And as the series rolls through, you'll essentially find out more and more about him until you hit the Refracted, when very, very quickly you realize this is his book. This is his story. This is all about him. Okay, so he starts off small, ends up quite a significant character. Ellie Noor has got a lot of secrets as well. Okay, again, I'm not giving away any spoilers. There's a lot we don't understand about her, and therefore there is a sense within Sam that he really doesn't know his wife at all. So as much as she doesn't know him, he doesn't know her either. So that's how the whole thing rolls. Through the books, you gradually find out more and more and more and more and more. Things happen of a kind of a supernatural, sci-fi, metaphysical kind of thing as well. And as quite a lot of the readers and the reviewers are saying, it is an addictive, guilty trip. You know, I mean, it feels like, okay, I really shouldn't be reading this. It's a bit raunchy. It's got lots of swearing in it. So if you are of a sensitive nature, stay away. And I'm quite happy for people to stay away. I don't want them to feel, you know, oh my God, she's actually written something like this. What kind of person is she? But if you really like something that's totally in your face, you know, totally different, full of technologies as well, lots and lots of different technologies, from nanotech to quantum, autonomous systems, bioengineering, you name it, it's all in there. And the stuff that's in there is actually based on the possibility of what can be done. Okay, so I've taken the current kind of thinking and I've extrapolated it, and the things that I've seen and the things that I know, I've kind of extrapolated it to say, okay, if we were living, say, like 10 to 15 years in the future, 20 years in the future, although this is all 2017, okay, so the whole of the Trusted Thriller series is all actually based 2017. It's very clear that this is an alternate universe, okay? In fact, I talk about the trusted universe because it has got elements of this world in it. So there are points in history that are identified throughout the book, but then you've got your own Prime Minister here, totally different to Boris Johnson as you can get, and you've also got the US President, what's his name, Jonathan D. Treborn, a lovely guy, not at all. He's a legislator of the nth degree. And he's a very interesting guy who, again, grows through book 1, book 2, book 3. Book 1 is very much about his kind of background and how he became the president. Book 2, you find out more and more and more. Book 3, and so on. Okay, so it is a roller coaster ride. I can't say that. Roller coaster ride in the dark. Or on steroids, apparently. So imagine this thing in Alton Towers going very fast, and then somebody puts it on steroids. That's how fast the Trusted Thriller series goes. Okay, so enjoy. It's graphic, it's violent, it's sexy, it's got gorgeous spies, gorgeous villains, and lots of things to say, what? What is she on? Yeah. Can I have some?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So let me just show you what they are. I've been rattling on. So that's the Trusted. There we go. That's the Dominant. That's book 2. Book 2. That's the Resonance. Book 3. That's the Refracted. Book 4. And these are big buggers. Sorry. We can edit it out. And that's the Sum. Look at how big it is. Massive. That was written this year. Okay. And I was really ill when I was just finishing it. Virtually, I unfortunately had the virus and pneumonia, and I was really struggling, but I got it out exactly 1 year after the Trusted. So the Sum came out on the 17th of April 2020, finishing off the series, and the Trusted came out on the 17th of April 2019. Now, I know a lot of authors out there write many, many more books than 5 in a year, but I've got a pretty pressurized job. Got a pretty pressurized. I haven't been drinking, I assure you. There is no JD in my coffee. No JD in my coffee. I don't know why I'm stirring. Oh dear. Never mind. So I've got a very pressurized job and I don't have an awful lot of time. So to write that many books, that size of book as well, because they're mostly, all of them are about 400 plus. The last one is 525 pages, which is a really hefty little thing. But apparently readers are getting through it in a day, which gives you an indication of what kind of velocity of impact of everything, excitement, passion, everything. So there you go. Perfect under the Christmas tree. Or, you know, if you get fed up with the family at Christmas time, just grab a bottle, go into the corner, start reading. It's to get into the Trusted universe. Sorry, I'm being a bit mad today. It's been a bit a crazy full-on day today. Does that give you enough? Does that give you enough?
Yes.
I just want to tell you one other thing. We've got something coming out next year on the 19th of January. We, being me and 17 other authors. Don't know whether you can clock this at all. Okay. It's called Dead Silent. Now, it is available for pre-order. It's only 99p or 99 cents. Okay. It's got 18 books. 18 books. It's going to be over 10 quid, 10 bucks, easily. It's got Operation Oyster Catcher, which I actually wrote after the Sum, and I started writing it while I still had pneumonia, which probably explains just how dark and twisted it really is, because I was putting all my angst into the pages of this little fella. But essentially, Operation Oyster Catcher is a standalone. It features Sam Noor and Matt Kinley, who's a double agent, and the great Salem and Sabina and some others, a few years prior to the Trusted thriller series. So this one's set in 2015. Again, lots of nanotech, lots of biotech, lots of quantum as well. And it's a very, very quick read indeed. I think it's about 36,000, 35,000 words in total. But according to some ARC reviewers, they're saying it is a blistering read, chapter after chapter. Couldn't put it down. even if you're a bit squeamish, and there's a lot to be squeamish about, the reviewers have said you will still not be able to put it down. Just don't read it while you're having your breakfast, because unfortunately, once you read it, they had a little bit of an accident. But anyway, never mind about that. So, Operation Oystercatcher. It's going to be out 19th of January, but it's on for pre-order now through Kindle, through Apple, through Kobo, through Nook, all the major online retailers. So grab it at 99p, 99 cents, because it'll be 10 quid. All right, that's my plug.
You've spoken a lot so far about nanotechnology and biotechnology, and reading The Trusted and Operation Oystercatcher, the things that stood out for me were the invisibility suit and the nanobomb. Are those things possible?
Well, the invisibility cloak or the invisibility suits that they have, they're called the stealth suits. They're quite cool, actually. They're in The Trusted, and it's possible. I mean, I've seen some stuff. In the book. It talks about photochromic nanoreflectors, which is effectively taking your perception field and just slightly running it off key, which means you are still visible, but it will reflect out all white light. So you are then seen as invisible. So it's not complete invisibility, although it is in the book. I mean, there's a bit of artistic license going on there, okay? But it's not something that's impossible at all. I mean, things like, obviously, when we talk about actual stealth technology and the use of waveguides, for example, that enables you to be invisible on radar. Okay, but when you actually start talking about photochromic nanoreflectors reflecting all white light, that is the next stage on to stealth, basically. And I think we're not far off. Let's say that we're not far off. As I say, I don't want to give any confidences away.
And for anyone that doesn't understand what nanotechnology is.
Yes, I didn't answer about the nanobomb, because obviously the nanobomb in The Trusted is fiction. It is fiction, okay. But the way in which I actually went in to describe it has a potential there. I mean, that is real science. Obviously, there is still dramatic license there, because I don't think this is the kind of thing that is happening at the moment. But as I say, I don't know. Okay, I mean, the things that are happening in nanotech at the moment are pretty fantastic when we talk about commercial applications. So nanotechnology, if you imagine 1/100000th of a meter, that's how small we're talking about. When you talk about nanotechnology, we're talking minuscule, 1/10000000th of a meter. Okay. So you need an electron tunneling microscope to be able to see anything at that level. You need to have a good background in both engineering and chemistry, and you're going more down the biotech routes. Obviously, you need biology as well. So those are the kind of disciplines that a kind of a nanotechnologist would actually need. When you talk about nanotechnology, you're talking about manipulation at the molecular level. So you're actually changing the characteristics of an atom or a molecule, which is a collection of atoms. Okay. And you're doing that through different catalysis, which is creating something to create a reaction to it, basically. You do this, scientists or nanotechnologists do this for a number of different reasons. One, to get more surface area, to make them more heat resistant, to improve conductivity, to increase the actual pigmentation, to increase the intensity of something. That's why nanotech's used a lot in cosmetics. Now, I've got Maybelline on at the moment. This is 24-hour. That has got nanotech in it, apparently, to maintain. I don't know, it's too damn small to know. We've got to, the only way you will know is by the benefits, okay? So the idea is that it's a 24-hour, it will stay on 24 hours, okay? Well, recently I haven't been up 24 hours. I haven't done that since my teens, so hey ho, I don't know. But if there's anybody out there who wants to go to a nightclub, not locked down or anything, and try a bit of Maybelline 24 hours and then text me back and let me know whether it's still on after all that drinking and whatever else you do. There you go. So anyway, moving swiftly on, the cosmetic world has actually used it quite a lot. The pharmaceutical world also uses nanotechnology a lot. Things like drug delivery as well, use of transmedial systems to actually make sure that the medicine is targeted to the place wherever it needs to be in the body, okay, whether it's in the brain, whether it's in the heart, wherever, okay? So transmedial technology with nanotechnology, it is all about drug delivery. So yeah, it is a very, very fascinating area. It's an area that I dip in and out, and of course, naturally, when I say dip in and out in my books, in reality, I do quite a lot, but in my books, I do touch on it because Sam Noor, as well as being a badass MI6 spy, is also a nanotechnologist. Now, the other side of the coin of nanotechnology is because you're at the atomic level, you are looking at things very, very small. So therefore, you are liable to quantum dynamics. So quantum dynamics comes into play. And Richard Feynman, who is, if you like, I better not say the grandfather of quantum, but he is he's certainly up there with them, okay? Otherwise, you know, all the Max Planck people will be very, very up in arms as well. But he basically wrote a paper or a book, I'm not quite sure which one, but he said there's an awful lot of room at the bottom. And that's exactly what the quantum world's all about. And what we do within the nanotech environment is that we manipulate using quantum dynamics to actually make more room within the atomic structures so that they can change their properties and can handle more, as I say, more heat, have more intensity, have more conductivity, can withstand cold or can withstand heat. It's all these kind of typical properties. And it all goes on in that it's actually ruled, that whole nanotech environment is actually ruled by quantum dynamics. So we're not in the kind of physical world anymore, which means that things that we think should happen do not happen. Okay, so we are we're constantly facing something different, and it's in that environment when you actually look at quantum, and then you look at rolled up dimensions, and you look at the different kinds of manifolds of what's possible. Okay, I think they have now 21 or 22 different dimensions potentially from a mathematical point of view right now. We don't know, but that kind of thing really fascinates me. And that's one of the things that I've sort of like built upon with the interdimensional thing, with the 1 degree out of reality, with Kudamun, and these metaphysical kind of beings that are responsible. So if you can see, I'm melding the science that I know well with the kind of metaphysical elements of it, okay, to create this kind of science fiction-y environment. But it's not science fiction as in Star Wars, or, you know, coming up against aliens or anything like that. These Kudamas, they're very, very humanoid. You know, they look like us. They act like us. In fact, they're very, very political. And if you think about it, the Adjustment Bureau, for example, it touched on that kind of thing as well, in a different way. But the fact that these guys with the hats, with the suits, they just look like normal people, but they're part of a bureaucratic cosmic system. That's exactly what the Kudamas are. Anyway, I know it's a bit of a roundabout way, but I'm trying to give also my reasons for writing the way I do, and the fact that even if people are a little bit put off by sci-fi, my stuff isn't sci-fi, despite the fact that people say 007 on acid with aliens. It's not the, you know, weird. And believe me, I love sci-fi. I love sci-fi. But some people do not love it. They run a mile if they see aliens or anything like that. It's not. It's actually quite political, bureaucratic, very fast moving, all that kind of stuff, basically. Anyway, there you go. Very long-winded way of going about things.
Well, science is not the easiest thing to explain anyway, even from someone that understands science a little bit. You set up a STEM foundation to give out grants to support education in science and technology. Why did you do that? And do you ever follow up on the projects that you fund?
Yeah, I mean, the STEM Foundation, this was originally started called New Engineering Foundation back in 2004. It was started because we actually found out that the lecturers had very, very small opportunities, like less than 10 hours a year, to actually update their technical skills in science, engineering, technology, and mathematics. So we did this research, we found this really staggering issue, and then we went all out to actually build funds. We didn't go fundraising because that's not what we do, but we actually built funds through our other organisations, and we actually donated quite a lot of money, something like, I don't know, since 2004 to now, I think it's been about £7 million that has been donated by us to the further education colleges, schools, sixth form colleges, to enable the lecturers. I think it's 250 odd colleges actually, and about 50 odd schools, to enable the lecturers, the teachers, to get back into industry, to update their skills, to update their understanding of new technologies, emerging technologies, and then bring that knowledge back into the classroom, creating the opportunities for the students so that they understand things that are real and relevant and are going to help them get help them get jobs, get into university quicker, all these kind of things. As I say, it's been going since 2004. We've had lots of associated projects, which we always follow up on as well. All the lecturers had to produce their case studies. And as part of that grant, it's important for them to actually create new learning materials that they then actually use, excuse me, in the classroom. So that's very, very important that is then incorporated back into what they do. Over the years, we've helped, I think it's 700,000 students.
Wow.
So we haven't hit the million yet, but yeah, it's quite a lot.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's amazing.
We try. We're not so active now, I must say. We're not so active now because of the whole thing with COVID has actually affected us quite badly on the kind of donation side. But we're hoping maybe next year things will improve. But the last year and the previous years, you know, from 2004, I mean, that's quite a chunk anyway. We've really rocked and rolled.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing a science degree, and I know how underfunded and underrepresented it is, especially by women as well. So
It's incredible
to know, yeah, it's quite shocking. And for me, female doing a science degree is quite strange. Yeah. So yeah, to know that perhaps the future generation are getting more funding is really cool.
Absolutely. I mean, other thing we did is that we actually did quite a lot of research as well to support what we were doing. So there was new pedagogies that we developed, new understanding around particular technologies, particular equipment as well that colleges and schools and universities needed. We also supported things like Innovate to Educate. That was a major. We worked a lot with various governments as well over the years, often directly with the Office of the Prime Minister or the Department of Trade and Industry, equivalent departments. You know, I know they're all called something very, very different these days.
Yeah.
But I still get the DTI. And the idea there was really to create kind of like innovation hubs within colleges, within universities that have a particular way in which to test out near market research to support smaller companies within their region to actually ensure that those companies improved their own capability so they can drive up their profitability, they can drive up the opportunities, for example, in employing people as well, and subsequently that drives up what's known as the gross value added within a region, which is good for everyone in that region because it means that you've got more money in your pocket overall. We try.
Yeah, hopefully next year it can go back to normal. Fingers crossed for everybody. So you obviously have an exceptionally scientific background, scientific job. Do you have the flip side of being artistic as well?
I do. I just need to put in a caveat there. I'm not a scientist by academic study. Okay, so I don't have an MSc, I don't have a BSc. My background in terms of what I read at university was actually business, finance and law. So that's what I did. Okay, but subsequently I decided that wasn't my thing. I was an account manager before and I didn't like accounts. I did work in the courts and I wasn't really into that either. And I don't know, I mean, in terms of running a business, in terms of engaging with corporations, it's great to have the financial and the corporate law. It's great. However, I got really turned on by science, engineering, and technology. And I ended up getting stuck in it for near on 28 years. So anyway, I love it. I love it. And my husband, who is a scientist and a technologist and a professor, he calls me an engineer or a technologist by proxy. And well, it's rather nice, because even when he was doing his PhD, I was actually reading his PhD. It was on, I think it was on boundary scan architecture. And that's all about a chip, because they have the boundary scan of the chip. So I read his PhD, and I was kind of like testing him on little parts of it and stuff like that. So over the years, it's almost like knowledge by osmosis, almost. It's soaked into the old cells. But anyway, yeah, I do have a creative side of me. Obviously, writing is part of it. I see things in a very visual way. So even when I'm trying to handle a problem, even if it's a scientific problem, and I actually have the kind of brain that actually sees everything in a very, very visual way. I visualize things, and then I try and sketch them out. And if I'm trying to get a problem, I always need to mind map it, because that's how I think. I also have a very lateral mind as well. So I make connections where other people go, which either means I'm completely insane, which is probably what I am, because that's exactly what my husband Sam says I am. But it also means that I do think differently. And I think so with everything. I am, hey, hello, I can hear your doggy.
Yeah, he's so fast asleep, he's twitching. It's so cute.
Oh, bless. But I do find that I like to visualize the problem. I will map it out in a mind map, and then I will see those interconnections. And that's actually what I like to do. But on the other side of the creativity, I'm also an artist. So I don't think I've got the picture of oyster catcher. It is an actual physical oyster catcher. It's in my office, but anyway, never mind. That's Sam Noor that I did. Okay, so that's Sam. He's got the gun there.
Yeah.
Big. That's Ellie. And these are all done in biro, straight off. That's Salem. Hiss, boo, boo, hiss.
Yeah.
This is Sabina, the sex psychopath. It's a nasty piece of work as well. Okay, so that's what I do when I'm watching the telly in the evening. I'm just scribbling away. Those are the kind of things that I do. I also paint as well. Unfortunately, I haven't got it on me now, but I've got a nice picture of an oyster catcher, and I've got other pictures that I do. I'm very comfortable with birds and animals. I love animals and birds, so I can easily do them. Obviously, I do faces as well and stuff like that. I mean, I'll actually paint anything, to be quite honest with you, but I just need time. So yeah, I do have a creative thing.